Hi everybody, I feel like this video might get a little long, so I do have my notes here to help me stay on track. I'm going to start over. Hi everybody, my name is Courtney, but you can call me halfcourt here on my channel. Thank you for coming to my safe space and my sanctuary and escape. This is a place where Black women and other progressive like-minded people can come to not only feel appreciated, but because they are essential. Today we are going to be talking about my locks, and I'm going to be answering some questions on my locks. These are questions I get about my locks literally all the time, and I thought instead of just answering them all one by one in the comment section, I should just make a video about all the questions that I get. So that's what this video is. If it looks like I'm reading, it's because I am. Oh, by the way, guys, I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of this year. I know, that's crazy. But I believe anything is possible. If you don't mind, consider being a subscriber or liking this video, potentially sharing it with a friend. Anyway, back to the video. Today I'm going to be answering some frequently asked questions about my locks, and I'm actually pretty excited about doing this video because I haven't really done a lock video on my locks in a minute since I started them, and in thinking about and sitting down and doing this video, it just gave me back some of that same excitement you get when you first start your lock journey. So we're gonna get right into it with frequently asked questions. Let's start with the first one. What method did you use to start your locks? So the method that I used to start my locks was 2-strand twist. So I started with 2-strand twist because, for those of you who don't know, I did have a set of locks before I did this set of locks, and I started with twist as well, and I felt like that was the best method for locking my hair. Also, I was doing my own hair, and twist just felt like a very easy and natural styling process for me to do. So I use 2-strand twist, but I know that people also use coils, or they'll do braids, or some people would just do freeform and just let their hair kind of lock up however they want. I do not have freeform locks. A lot of people ask me that as well. I also do not have semi-freeform. How many locks do you have? I have 64 locks, and I say it like that because there used to be this cartoon that would come on that was like 64 Zoolane, 64. Anyway, I have 64 locks, and the reason why I have 64 locks is because I did not have an even set in my previous lock set. I had an odd number, and it wasn't a problem at first until I started try to do styles that were like parted down the middle, or like 4 parts and stuff, and there was always one lock sticking out, or 2 or 3 somewhere, and that didn't go into the style. So I did 64, so it's perfectly divisible down the middle of my head, because I do a lot of middle styles like 2 buns, 2 braids, things like that. So I have 64 locks. How often do I wash and retwist? That's what it says on here, and you can't see it in the video, but it says, how often do you wash and retwist? Now that my locks are a little older, I don't tend to retwist them quite as frequently because I find that the tension on my hair really irritates my scalp, and also because of how kind of heavy they are, I don't need to retwist them as much, because if you can kind of see I don't have a fresh retwist in, but the style still works because I've just kind of gotten used to the frizz. But yeah, that doesn't answer your question, does it? Okay, so I wash my hair probably more frequently now that my locks are almost fully mature. I wash them way more frequently, so I'll wash almost every month. I'll do once a month. Sometimes the longest I've gone now that they're mature is probably about 3 months without washing it. I know at the beginning I was definitely a stickler for every 3 months because that's what I was told will help my hair lock up faster. So I would wash every 3 months, and I kind of kept that washing every 3 months. But now that they're more mature and I'm just more active, like I work out a lot more, I need to wash my hair a lot more frequently. So I typically do like once a month I'll wash my hair, or roughly about every 6 weeks, which is about 2 months. And how often do I retwist it? I really just retwist when a retwist is needed. So if I'm doing a specific type of style that requires like a fresh retwist, I might retwist my whole head. Most of the time I don't. I'll just do like the front crown, the part of the style that's going to be shown, but I don't retwist quite as often. I'll probably say I retwist every maybe 3 to 6 months. I'll do a retwist. Yeah, if you can make it that long, your locks will be thick. My locks are pretty thick because I don't retwist as often. So I retwist probably every 3 to 6 months, and I wash almost every 1 to 2 months. What products do you use? I feel like I should actually just show you guys some of the products I use. I don't use a lot of products. Because when I started this lock journey, I intentionally sought out not putting a lot into my locks. I didn't want to put a lot of product into my locks because I didn't want them weighing it down. I didn't want them discoloring it. I didn't want it changing the structure of my hair, because what you put in, what you consume stays in your locks, and I didn't want that. So I don't use a lot of products. What I do use is, most of my products are water-based. I do mainly use Design Essential shampoo and conditioner, and I'll insert a picture here of that. I use this specific, I believe it's the oatmeal protein shampoo and conditioner that I use. And then I also use apple cider vinegar tea rinse on my hair after every single wash. I don't only do the apple cider vinegar deep cleanse thing that a lot of people do at the end of the year, or they do it at some time in the year. I will do this apple cider lemon tea tree oil rinse after a wash. I also use a very specific dermatologist provided shampoo for my scalp, because I tend to get yeast on my scalp because it gets irritated because of the sweat. The skin pH on my scalp gets irritated and it causes like flakes. And at first I thought it was dandruff. It is not dandruff, it's just my skin. So I have a special shampoo for just my scalp that I also use. It is actually really good on your locks as well. It doesn't really dry them out, it gets them really clean. This works wonders for my I can't ever really pronounce what it's called, but I will insert it down below. So insert that dermatologist term for what I have on my scalp. How long have I been locked? Have I not already mentioned this before? I feel like I probably mentioned it in just the previous question. I have been locked. Oh, I'm sitting here searching for my phone. I'm filming on my phone. I've had this set of locks since 2021. It is now 2026. So 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. I have been 6 years locked. I've been telling people 5. It has been 6 years. I've been telling people 5. It has been 6 years. I've had my locks for 6 years, and I've lost count of the time. Like before I was counting, I was like, ooh, I got 3 months. I'm gonna be 3 months locked. At this time, I'm gonna be 6 months. At this time, I'm gonna be 9 months. Right now, I would be like, girl, it's been so long, I don't even know. But I just counted, and it's actually been 6 years. I locked my hair with this set on February 6th of 2021. Is 2021 or was it 2020? It was 2021, yes. I feel like 2020, I did have a set of locks before this one. And I had those for about 3 years. So I had those from 2017 to 20. I can't do math. I went to school for art. Let me do the math right now because I need to do the math. I had those in 2017, 2018, 2019, and I combed them out at the end of 2020. So I had those for 3 years. I was right. I can do math. Okay, I had those for 3 years. I had them from 2017 to 2020. I combed them out at the end of 2020, like kind of during Christmas break. So I had like a couple weeks off. I was also laid off that year after November, so I had plenty of time. And I thought I needed to do something with my hair, so I combed it all out. I did a bunch of wigs, styles, and everything like that. And I just came right back home to the locks. And it's been 6 years since then. Okay, so this question, I like this question. It says, when your locks weren't fully locked, what was the safest way to wash them without unraveling? And this is a question I haven't had to think about. since my locks are now mature, but it is something I did think about a lot when I had fresh locks, like when they were basically still babies twisted up. I didn't do anything special for them. I know that's bad to say, but I also did start my locks with twist, 2-strand twist. And I also feel like if you did start your locks with braids, you probably don't need to do anything special when washing them to keep them from unraveling. Now, this does depend on the hair texture that you do have. If you have like very loose textured hair, you might need to do a different thing. I know a lot of people would do like, they would put the what's it called, like a, this is helping, the cap, a bald cap over their head, like the ones that have the mesh. They would put that over their head when they wash their hair so that they can still get it scalping clean without unraveling it. I know people do that, especially if they have the coil curls or if they have very loose texture hair. Great, that leads me to the next question. What was your hair type? Which is actually a good question, because I think it has a lot to do with what type of like lock style you choose and pattern for your scalp and things like that. I don't really subscribe to that hair typing system that they have made up. I do prefer to go more off of the one that was made by the black lady, the one that's more about your hair density. The people be racing over here. The one that's about like low or high porosity. I have very low porosity. My hair takes forever to absorb water. I have very dense hair at the like top or around my crown. The back of my hair is very thin. So my locks back there are a lot thinner than my ones up at the top. But if we're going by that rudimentary system, I have 4B hair. Kinky. And I love it. I love all the kinks. What is in my lock water? It's really great for your hair. Rose water is the main thing I put on it. After rose water, I put aloe vera juice. This is something that you can pick up at Whole Foods or you can order online. I get specifically the juice. You got rose water, you got aloe vera juice. I also fill it up with regular water to the top. So rose water, aloe vera juice, regular water. And then here's the two other things that I use. I use tea tree oil and I use peppermint oil. Peppermint oil really helps refresh my scalp and things like that. And the tea tree oil really helps to balance my scalp pH. When I'm feeling really fancy and got the monies for it, I put some lavender oil in my lock water, but I usually do not have the lavender in there. It's usually just these ingredients here, and that's literally it. Most of the ingredient is rose water and aloe vera juice. Those are the best things you can probably put in your hair. Oh, this one's cute. At what month did your hair begin to swell into a lock? And this takes me back because I remember both times with both sets of locks when it started to swell. And for both of them, it was at roughly about 3 months. I started to get budding. That's what you guys are referring to as swelling. I started to get budding in my locks at about 3 months. So yeah, it was about at 3 months that it started to do that. Okay, so someone's asking, can you spray your locks if they aren't fully locked yet? And what I have to say to that is, yes, you can. At the same time, when people say enjoy your journey at every stage you're at, enjoy it, okay? Your locks are not fully locked, so you should not be treating them like fully locked hair. They do not need the same attention and care as full locks. What they do need is for you to leave them alone and let them do what they gonna do. The only thing you should really be spraying on your hair when your hair's not fully locked up is something like your lock water. So something that doesn't have any extra stuff in it. This is just pretty much water and aloe vera juice, things that are water based and can be washed out easily, or things that are really good for your hair, like those essential oils like tea tree, jojoba oil, or peppermint oil, lavender oil, stuff like that, that aren't heavy oils. You shouldn't be putting any heavy oils in your hair. I promise you it will lock up. Probably just stick to the water-based stuff, water, aloe vera juice, that type of stuff, spraying in your hair, which should be fine. How do I keep my hair clean without buildup? Well, as you can see, I do a lot of styling, but in between styles, I don't really do nothing to my hair. On a scarf and then put a bonnet over that. The other thing I do for my hair care is I usually brush my locks out after every style. If it's not in a style, I'll brush them every night just to get any lint or anything out of that. I'll brush them after I've gone to the gym if it's just out in a ponytail. Just brushing your locks with like a bristled brush really helps. Now, if your locks aren't fully matured yet, definitely use the soft side of the brush, and this is the brush I'm talking about. Use the soft side of that brush if your locks aren't fully locked. Honestly, if they're not fully locked, you don't need to be brushing them. Just be careful of like lint and stuff like that, and make sure you're wrapping your hair before you sleep, and that includes naps. Put a scarf, bonnet, something over your head before you lay your head down. Or if you have silk sheets or silk pillowcases like I do. I have silk pillowcases, but I still wear a body. But that's just in case I fall asleep on my bed and I'm just like sleep, my hair is still protected. To keep regular buildup, like just gunk in your hair buildup, I don't really do my edges. As you can see, I don't be doing my edges. They just don't get done. It doesn't need to be slicked down. So I'll do styles that cover it up, or I just be black. Use water-based products, and I mean basically just water. Your hair is like a plant. It needs nutrition. So water, rose water, olive oil juice, tea tree, peppermint oil, things like that, and not the heavy oils, will definitely help your hair. Let that castor oil go. And I only use castor oil on my rubber bands. Whenever I do a style like this, I'll put some castor oil on the rubber band so that it doesn't really pull on my hair while it's in my hair. That's the only time I use it. I do not use it on my locks, on the length of them, on my roots, none of that. You want to cut down on buildup, don't use no castor oil. I used castor oil on my first set of locks, and I said never again. Frizz, because you guys talk about frizz a lot. And a lot of people will say they don't want their locks to be frizzy, or they don't like that stage because it's poofy and it's uncontrollable. If you have locks, okay, take these off when I say this. If you have locks, you're going to have frizz. It's just the name of the game. It's just a part of it. You're going to have frizz. It's something that you're going to have to deal with. So you're going to have to deal with it. It's just a thing. It's just a thing that exists within the lock community. And I say love it while it's super frizzy, super poofy, super big, because your locks won't always be that way. And that's why every lock person who's got more years in the game always says enjoy the journey, because as your locks develop, they change with you. And as they're developing and changing, you will be changing along with them. And that's why people say it's such a beautiful journey, because it teaches you a lot about yourself. When you have locks, you're not willing to tolerate being around certain things or around certain people if you care about your hair and the health of your hair. You're way more intentional with what you do, who you're around, because locks are kind of like sponges. They kind of soak that up. So you don't want to be putting anything in your hair that you don't want to keep in your hair for a long period of time. So even the edge control that I do end up using is a very light edge control. It's not really heavy. It's really just kind of for pictures. It like slicks my hair down, and I sweat it out so quick because I'm a heavy sweater. I am. If any of you guys have any questions, I'd be more than willing to collect them all and potentially put them together and make a new video with some more questions that you guys have that I'd be willing to answer. If you made it this far, thank you for joining in. I really do appreciate it. And if you have made it this far, all the way to the end of the video, consider liking or subscribing and getting to see more like this, or leaving a comment and letting me know what you think. If you are thinking about getting locks, how long you've had your locks, if you've ever had locks before and you changed it up, and just let me know. I would love to hear what you guys have to say, and I am really responsive on these platforms. So if you're not already following me, go ahead and consider following me on Instagram or TikTok. And other than that, I'll see you guys on the next one, hopefully.